Welcome to our world. Won't you come on in? Waiting just for you. Welcome to our world.
Hello.
Are you recording?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any ideas for today's episode?
I have
No.
none.
Okay. Well, here are my two ideas. The first, some fun facts about space.
Okay. What's the second one?
Oh, did you not like that one?
No, I think that's a good one.
Well, then let's just do that one so that I don't have to say what my second idea is, and we can use my second idea.
Okay, wait, do you already have the fun facts about space?
Yeah.
Or are we
I have a
assuming I
couple.
know anything about space?
I have a couple. I thought you knew a lot about space.
I mean, I know random things, but no random things I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, what made me think about space the other day was, I don't remember if I was reading something or listening to a podcast or what, but they were talking about asteroids and comets and meteors.
Mm-hmm.
And I, a regular plebeian, did not
Normal
know
human.
the difference among these.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked it up. Do you know the difference? The differences among asteroids, comets, and meteors?
I think the different meteors, I'm trying to remember one of them is when it enters the atmosphere or something, and one is when it doesn't enter the atmosphere or something like that. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember. No, the answer is no.
Okay, great. Here, I will read the definition and you tell me which one you think it is.
Okay.
Icy bodies that vaporize as they approach the sun, forming a visible tail.
That's a
Can you
comet.
please answer?
That's a comet.
Can you please answer in the style of Jeopardy?
Okay, what is a comet?
That is correct. Small pieces of space debris that burn up as they enter Earth's atmosphere, creating streaks of light.
What is a comet? No, I'm kidding. What is a meteor?
That is correct. So what's an asteroid?
It's just when it's out in space,
Okay.
going around the planet, doesn't approach the sun, doesn't really have a
Close.
tail.
Primarily rocky and metallic objects found mainly in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter.
See, now that part I didn't really know. I mean, I knew there was an asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, but I didn't know. Like, I figured they're just all over the place, and there just happen to be a lot of them between Mars and Jupiter. Because there's a lot of room there. A lot of space, available space, living space there.
So meteors are fragments of asteroids or comets.
Yes.
Which is...
That makes sense.
Interesting. Well, thanks for joining us this week, everyone.
That's it.
I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
I think it is too. I would.
And I thought you would because you're a nerd.
I would guess most people don't know those things.
Most people don't.
I mean, they know. I would think they know that a comet has a tail, but that's it.
My next fun fact about space.
Okay. I like this. I like this.
The average distance between asteroids, which we now know what asteroids are, between asteroids in the asteroid belt is twice the distance between the Earth and Moon. You could fly through the asteroid belt while texting or even taking a nap without fear of hitting anything. Think about that next time a movie shows flying through an asteroid belt.
Yeah, because every time they make it like you're being bombarded from all sides, right?
Yeah.
You know the weird thing, though? I've heard this like many times. If you're out in space and you get hit by like they talk about space junk from old satellites or things like that, or random things, parts that just flew off into space. If you got hit by one of those, it could like go through. It'd be like getting hit by a bullet because they're moving so fast.
Wow.
Okay.
This isn't a fun fact. This is just a Reddit thread titled, I can't believe astronauts are real.
Wait, I can't believe. You can't believe what? Say that again?
Astronauts are
okay,
real.
astronaut. That's what I thought you said. They just don't believe that people do that? That people want to do that?
This just says...
They're talking obviously about like Katy Perry, for instance.
I've been watching the broadcast of the NASA SpaceX crew going to the ISS, as well as the crew that left the ISS to return to Earth. Jim, would you like to tell everyone what ISS stands for?
The International Space Station.
Thank you. Watching them in the spacecraft with their astronaut suits on, you know, the heavy robotic-looking all-over white suit with a huge helmet that has clear glass in front, was so fascinating because it briefly reinforced my childhood belief that astronauts are just made-up fictional characters. Watching them looks like watching a scene straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exciting. All right. My next fun fact. At light speed, it would take around 4 years to reach our closest star, which is?
Alpha Centauri.
That's correct. At 20% that speed, currently the goal, via solar sails, it will take 25 years. Our fastest speed with current technology can get us up to 15,000 miles per hour, which would take 18,000 years or 2,500 human generations.
Wait, our fastest speed, it's saying can get us up to only 15,000 miles an hour?
This was 3 years ago.
I don't think that, well, yeah, I don't think that's accurate because the thing is, when, even when the rockets are going into space now, they're hitting, well, wait, they're probably doing kilometers per hour. But still, I know the one that they sent to the sun was going, I just heard this, 50 or 60,000. Even if it's kilometers per hour, it would still be way faster than that. But it's still... So how long would it take again if it went 15,000 miles an hour?
18,000 years or
okay,
2,500
so even if
generations.
Even if it went twice that fast or 3 or 4 times that fast, it doesn't matter. It's like not only, I mean, all of the humans that we know from history would all be dead by then.
It's still inconceivable.
Yep. Yeah, it is. It's so weird. Even when you think even if we could travel at the speed of light, it would take 4 years.
I would like to add here that I bet you're all wondering, why are you all qualified to talk about this subject? I'll tell you why. Because in college, I took an elective course on astronomy. And not only that, that's not what qualifies me alone. What qualifies me is the fact that in order not to take the final exam, you had to have a perfect grade in the class up until that point.
And you did.
And I did. So I did not have to take the final exam.
That's...
Is this a humble brag? Or is this just evidence that I'm qualified to talk about this subject? Why not both, I say?
I'm qualified because I think it's cool.
Excellent. Do you know what a magnetar is? Is that how you say it?
Magnetar? I've never...
Yes.
If I've heard of this, I don't remember
Well, you've never taken an elective on astronomy, have you?
Which you aced?
They are basically neutron stars, which are the core of a dead star made of a ball of neutrons with the strongest magnetic fields we know of in the universe.
Wow.
How strong, you ask?
Yes.
If you got within 1,000 kilometers of one, you would die, because the magnetic field itself would kill you by stripping the literal electrons from your body. Holy crap.
Probably, though, if you had to die, that would be a good way to die. That would be a good way to die because you would immediately lose consciousness.
First of all, why are you assuming that? First of all,
okay, I think if every electron was ripped from your body, I don't think your brain would still work.
I don't know, but I can't even. I obviously know what like an atom looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even, like, I need someone to do a sci-fi movie where this happens, because I can't even begin to physically imagine what would happen to your body. You know how, like, what is it? With something in space. Oh, isn't it like with a black hole, how they say you'd be like spaghettified and your body would be torn, like pulled so far apart.
Right, you'd be stretched.
In like strands of spaghetti, which is why they call it spaghettification.
Yeah, and it's because of the difference in the gravitational pull from your feet to your head. Right?
Yes, but so my point is, so with that at least, you have a visualization,
right?
However gruesome it may be.
And if you always wanted to be taller,
you have a visualization of what that would look like. What would it look like to have just the electrons removed from your body?
I don't think there'd be.
Let me Google it.
I don't think there's a camera that would be quick enough to take that picture. I don't think you're going to find. Go into ChatGPT and ask it to create an image demonstrating what would happen.
This is so good.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. All right.
I want to make it clear. Let's start at the beginning for all of you who did not take Astronomy 101. Electrons are, this isn't even astronomy. Electrons are responsible for the formation of chemical bonds, which hold atoms together to form molecules, right? Without electrons, these bonds would disappear, and there would be no structure to hold the atoms of your body together.
This is so wild. Physics is amazing.
I know. Atoms are normally neutral because they have an equal number of protons, positive charge, and electrons, negative charge. Removing all the electrons would leave you with only positively charged nuclei. Are we all with me still? Obviously, this is pretty...
That reminds me of a joke, which I will not tell.
Go ahead.
I can't remember exactly how it goes, so it won't be funny when I tell it.
Okay, great.
Especially since you just already said something, though.
Positively charged nuclei repel each other. So the sudden removal of all electrons would result in an enormous buildup of positive charge, leading to an incredibly strong electrostatic repulsion. This repulsion, you ask, I know, what would it do? It would cause the atoms of your body to fly apart at incredibly high speeds, resulting in a violent explosion. Not just an explosion,
a violent
explosion.
Yeah.
And the resulting state would be a plasma, a superheated state of matter where atoms have been stripped of their electrons. So you would literally explode and there would just be like a puddle of plasma.
Yeah. That's okay. All right, so these two
atoms
are walking down the street.
Never mind,
right?
I don't want to see this anymore.
And the one atom says to the other atom, "What's wrong? You seem really depressed." And he says, "Well, yeah, I am."
I'm negative.
And he says, "Why?" And he says, "Why?" And he says, "'Cause I lost an electron." And the other one says, "Are you sure?"
No, I'm positive.
He said, "Yeah, I'm positive. You've ruined my joke."
Well, you ruined a lot of things in my life. So, my next fun
Okay,
fact.
have another joke. No, go ahead. Anyway.
Go ahead.
No,
I'm
not going to tell that one.
Go ahead.
I don't remember it.
The people would love to hear it. I don't know why, but they would.
No, I'm not going to tell it. I'll save it. I'll save this one for some other time.
Just say it.
No, if I tell it now, you'll probably finish it and ruin my joke.
I won't. Here, I'll set my mic down.
No, I have to practice this one. I don't remember it. I haven't told it in a long time. Go ahead. I'm sure I'll think of another atom electron.
The people are
joke.
waiting.
Go ahead.
You were holding the people up right now.
Go ahead. What's next? What's next in this thrilling, exciting episode?
You could come up with episodes for ideas.
I like this episode.
For episodes at any time.
I like this episode.
Space. Do you know how many miles up it is?
Oh, is it around? It's the Kármán line. It's beyond the Kármán line. I forget if it's around 100 miles or 100 kilometers, something like that. Somewhere in that area, I think.
Space is only 62 miles up.
So that's 100. Okay, 100 kilometers.
And this person says, "For me, that is way closer than the state line. How about you?"
Isn't that weird?
And then they add the ISS space station. Why did they write it like that? They clearly don't know
redundant.
What ISS means.
Yeah.
The ISS.
The I space station.
No, just say is only. Do you know how many kilometers up that is, or how many miles up that is?
It's not many more than that. I mean, it's more than 6, obviously, but it's
250 miles up. So
okay, that's it. That's actually well, that's more than I thought, but still, it's the same thing. 250 miles. But think about it. They drive to the next state.
I know, that's what this person said. The ISS may be closer to me than the state line. That really is a crazy thought.
Yeah.
And
People
something I
think
don't
of
think I've
space and
ever
they think like it's
realized.
so far away, and it's not. It's weird. Which I guess for people that talk about our fragile planet, which is really not as fragile as people make it out to be, but that's how you could look at it is, man, the atmosphere isn't really that thick. The atmosphere that protects us all from space and plasma and magnetrons.
We live in a veritable golden age for having the best North Star possible. Do you know what the name of the North Star is?
Oh yeah. I don't remember. I can't think of it though, off the top of my head.
Polaris.
Polaris, duh.
Polaris
yeah,
is very close to true north, but over time, due to the wobble of the Earth's axis, it will slip away, and eventually Vega will become our North Star, as it was back in ancient Egyptian times. Vega is bright, which is good, but it's not quite as sweet as Polaris when it comes to northness.
That's cool. These are interesting facts.
I'm looking for a fun one since
Okay,
you don't
no,
seem to be amused by these.
No, I like these. I just didn't know if that was intentional pause or if there was a reason you paused.
Do you know what percentage of the total mass in our solar system the sun accounts for?
It's a ridiculously high percentage. It's well over 90%. It might be over 99%.
It is.
Yeah. And then Jupiter, if it says it there, Jupiter
it doesn't.
accounts for, as far as the planets, Jupiter accounts for a huge percentage of the planetary mass.
Back to the sun.
Okay.
It's 99.86% of the total mass
Think about
of the solar
that.
system.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's insane.
Well, and that's the thing. Whenever you see depictions of the solar system, it always shows it shows the sun the biggest, but it shows the planets much bigger than they really are, and much closer than they really are. So it's more like if the sun was a tennis ball, the planets would be like specks of like salt or pepper, and they'd be far apart relative to their size. Just weird. It's everyone has a completely inaccurate view of the solar system and the universe for that matter. And then when you get back to the thing of how far our nearest star is, it's crazy. I watched a video once that actually showed this, and it's nuts when you actually see what the relative sizes are of everything. And the biggest surprise is the distances between everything.
Because of the constant motion of all space and everything therein, time travel is pretty futile. It would have to operate relative to Earth's space-time, or any successful attempt would put you in the same position, but the Earth wouldn't be there anymore or yet. To work successfully, it would have to travel through space as well to put you relative to the planet. Without an origin point and accounting for all gravitational effects involved, it's a lot more complicated. I never really thought about it
I didn't either. God, how scary that would be. So Back to the Future.
So you make
it shows the car like disappear, and then the car reappearing out in the middle of space, and then it shows like, I don't know, it shows them dying just when
That's what I mean. So you could get the time, or you could get the space part. No, what am I saying? The space part you could do correct, but it's the actual time part.
I was thinking it the other way around.
Isn't it the space part though? Because you're at the same point, but in a different time. The Earth's not there yet.
I guess, yeah, you could say that. It's the space, but I think you get in the space part right, but the Earth is not there. You're at the same point.
That's what I just said.
You're at but that's what I'm saying. You're at the same point, relatively speaking, in space, but the Earth is not there.
So it's a time issue.
Yeah, that's
not a space issue.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
It's a time. Oh no, it's a space.
I think this will be a great thing to end on.
It's the space-time continuum.
And there's no such thing. This is a great thing to end on. Space's surface. I can't say this. Darn it, you should have read this one. Space's surface. Just forget it. I can't say it with a straight face, so it's ruined. Space's surface is the largest of all keys on a computer keyboard, but may not be the largest on a keyboard shown on a smartphone. It's also generally the dirtiest of all keys.
I'm going to check this keyboard here now. I should
I
clean
mean, that
this
makes
up.
sense. You touch it the most, you would think.
Oh, absolutely. Because you use it to kind of center your hands, too.
Anyway.
I don't know. I must have cleaned this keyboard a while ago because the space bar doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look bad.
We are now moving on to
This Week in History.
I forgot where we're at.
This Week in History.
This Week in History, yes. In 1773, Parliament passes the Tea Act. Do you know what the Tea Act did?
They tax tea.
It was a bill designed to save the faltering East India Company from bankruptcy by greatly lowering the tea tax it paid to the British government, thus granting it a de facto monopoly on the American tea trade.
By lowering?
You don't know anything.
That's confusing, though. Why?
No, to the tea tax. Wait.
So they still collected the tea tax.
Oh, yes. See, British Prime Minister Frederick North, who initiated the legislation, thought it impossible that the colonists would protest. I have a fun fact. It's protest. Cheap tea. He was wrong. Many colonists viewed the act as yet another example of taxation tyranny, which culminated in the Boston Tea Party.
What do they call it? A tea party? It wasn't really a party.
They had a lot of fun. 2017, protests.
Protests.
All right, I was going to save this for later, but we'll throw it in now.
Oh, no.
This is a really fun, is actually a really fun fact.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Because I'm a nerd. With words that are, you're recording all of this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I just checked.
I just like to check.
As a matter of fact.
With words that you can use as a noun and a verb.
Yeah.
To differentiate the two, obviously use context clues to know if we're using it as a noun or a verb. But the other way you can tell is because for most of them, the noun form, the emphasis is placed on the first syllable, like address.
Okay.
Well, yeah, like protest.
Oh, or address. Okay.
Or if you're addressing someone, it's address.
Okay.
You wouldn't say I'm addressing someone.
Or I have to address this envelope.
Yes. But so when you're speaking, most of them, I don't actually know what percentage, but most of them, it's
if you were putting on a dress.
So it'd be, I'm going to a protest to protest the whatever. That's how that works. Now you've all learned some things, though you haven't.
I've never heard anyone, though, say protest.
Protest. Maybe that's a bad example. I don't.
It should be like that, though.
No, it is. It is. That is correct. A lot of people don't say that maybe because they think it sounds weird. But it also works the same. This is where maybe it gets confusing for people because the argument that I saw was, well, what about like when the president gives his State of the Union address? That's a noun technically. Yes, but it's still the act of addressing the people.
Right.
So it's an address because it's an action.
State of the Union address.
Ugh.
That's weird.
That's not it. That's not what we're saying.
Yeah. The address of where he gives the State of the Union address.
Right.
What is the address?
Now we've all learned multiple things.
And is he wearing a dress?
2017, protests break out in Brazil for the first time in 20 years. Do you know why?
When was it again? Repeat
2017.
And break out in Brazil?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the tea tax?
No.
Okay.
It was against unfair labor and pension reforms, which caused thousands to take the streets and demand the president step down. And that's it. Oh, wait.
I'd like to look into that and get more details on that.
At the time of the protests, President Timur held a meager 4% approval rating.
Wow.
Yikes. It's very bad.
Yeah, I'd like to look into that. I would like to look into that. Because for somebody to get to a 4% approval rating, things had to be really bad, right? And you hear about these international things, but I know most people don't really normally pay that much attention to them. But I would like to find out more about that.
1992, Rodney King trial verdict is announced. Would you like to explain this to the people?
Go ahead.
Don't even what?
No.
I don't know what this is.
I don't remember the details of that. I remember there's Rodney King, and there was the guy that was pulled out of the truck.
Oh, I do know what this is.
Oh, and Rodney King said, "Can't we all just get along?"
That's not written here, but yes. A jury acquitted 4 police officers charged with using excessive force while arresting black motorist Rodney King the previous year. The officers savagely beat King with batons and kicked him repeatedly for a reported 15 minutes, which was caught on camera by a bystander and later broadcast all over the world. A lot of people were unhappy.
Yeah, but they said the police were acquitted.
They were.
I know. So why were they? If they were acquitted by a jury of their peers or other fruits.
1997, Coming Out episode of Ellen airs. We all know this. I've never seen it.
When was that? 1997.
Mm-hmm. But there was a sitcom on ABC, Ellen, and Ellen DeGeneres came out.
That's almost 30 years ago. Holy crap. Wow.
In 1898, the Battle of Manila Bay takes place. What the heck is that?
Manila.
Do you know where that is?
It's the Philippines, isn't it?
That is correct. The U.S. squadron destroyed the Spanish Pacific Fleet in the first battle of the Spanish-American War. Mm-hmm. That was it.
I thought it was only a few years ago. That's a relief.
The Spanish fleet was decimated. Sorry.
You can't mess with the United States of America. We're number one. We're number one.
2011, U.S. forces, kill Osama bin Laden. Well, yes, we all know him.
That was warranted.
I feel no need to read the details of this. No. Okay. And in 1937, Margaret Mitchell wins Pulitzer Prize for Gone with the Wind.
So she wrote Gone with the Wind.
Yes.
In 1937, she won the Pulitzer Prize, or the Pulitzer Prize, depending on how you pronounce it. And then they made the movie after that. So the movie came out after the book, as opposed to other examples where the movie came out and the book was written afterward.
What examples are there of that?
I don't know. I was wondering if that ever happened.
Ever happened.
I bet you it has. If there was a movie that was really popular, somebody thought, I'm going to document this in a book.
I don't think that happened.
I'm going to do that.
And also...
Titanic. I think the book came out after the movie.
What?
Okay.
What are you ever saying? Books that are made into movies or TV shows, I was just talking with someone about this morning, are never as good for whatever reason. I think the main reason, especially with movies, is that there's not enough time to get in all of the details from a book. There are obviously scenes that need to be recut. Need to be cut.
That's why miniseries are good.
Yes.
If they're well done.
Yes, I agree. But even like when books are turned into series, miniseries, or even just full TV shows and all that, there's still so many creative liberties that are taken by directors and producers and writers that it's like, just, you have all of the information you need. Just go.
Right.
Just take it.
Right.
And
don't redo it.
Be one with the work.
Don't redo it.
Don't redo it. I can't think of one time, like, I haven't, spent a lot of time thinking about this, but in this moment, I can't think of one time where something that I've read and then watched the movie or the show or whatever, and there was a change that I was like, wow, that added a lot to the story.
You were always disappointed, probably.
You're always disappointed. Yeah. It's never as good. Yeah. And the changes, like I said, it just feels like they change stuff to change stuff.
I've never experienced that.
Because you don't read. You can't read. We know.
I can read. I choose not to read most of the time. I just don't have the time.
We are now going into a joint session of
listener feedback. Yeah.
Listener feedback with
If you have grievances, and I'm sure you have.
The airing of grievances. Okay. They're all together today because this was the feedback that we got, was someone saying that they have grievances, and then a lot of people jumped on this train. So they're all one today.
Okay.
And this is in all caps, so I'm about to yell. Why does dark chocolate sometimes contain milk? And I would like to, this is me now, I would like to add, I did not know this. Maybe I just don't know enough about the world. I didn't know this. They say, if I want milk in my chocolate, I'll get milk chocolate. That already exists. Dark chocolate isn't supposed to have milk. I thought that was the point. Stop sneaking milk into things. Fine, maybe you want milk chocolate, but for it to be more bitter like dark chocolate. Okay, make that, but it's still milk chocolate. Why? Because it
They
contains
should
milk.
call it dark milk chocolate then.
Simply don't call dark chocolate if it contains milk. To me, that now becomes milk chocolate.
I
They
mean,
should call it dark milk chocolate. That's what you said?
yeah, at least then it would say what it is. But I think most people probably don't care. Honestly, most people probably wouldn't care.
Touche.
But yeah, I guess it's what's confusing though, because even with the dark chocolate, right? If you're eating dark chocolate for your health, there's a difference between 70% or 90% or 60%. You know, they have the different percentages, and the higher you get, the more it tastes kind of like powdery. Probably because
Like a true cocoa bean.
like if they don't have milk in it, you know, then it probably is. It probably in most cases maybe isn't as creamy or whatever. But I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Dark
Probably.
chocolate is healthier for you.
I know. That's what I'm saying. But probably if they do the dark chocolate, but with just the a little bit of the milk or the dried milk or whatever they call it, it probably doesn't significantly affect the health effects
Powdered
of it.
milk.
Powdered milk, yeah.
Someone responded, also just putting animal products in absolutely everything, like those Trader Joe's gummies where they started putting that milk ingredient in them when it literally wasn't there before, so it's obviously not necessary. Same with those Barnana PB covered banana bites. That
So
is
why
annoying, I think.
in the case, okay, I don't, and like I said, if it's like somebody that's like a vegetarian or a vegan and they don't want any animal products, then it matters, right? But even if it, like that example they gave where it didn't have animal products and now it does, I wonder why they did, because I don't think there's somebody sitting around saying, wait a minute, why don't we have any animal products in this? Let's put this in here. So there's,
I mean, the only reason I can think is that for whatever reason it became cheaper to substitute that for a different
something else.
ingredient.
I mean, right. So my question would be, well, why did they do, what's the reason?
That's the only reason I can think of. But I also think now people are much more health conscious and seeing things. I mean, I'm not saying for just people that are health conscious in general, but I know a lot of people that if they see something that, even though they're not vegan or vegetarian or whatever, if they see that it's vegan, they'll be like, oh, I'll get this. Like,
Yeah.
that's fine because I'm between these two options anyway. This one's vegan, I'll get that. So for me, I think replacing like if say they had vegan on these gummies and then they had to take that off because of the animal ingredient they added, I think they lost consumers that way. You know what I mean?
think if they lost,
also
if they were going to lose a bunch, though, I don't think they would do it,
well,
because I think they would
also
take that into
though,
account.
It depends. Well, maybe they didn't realize. Maybe they didn't realize how much the vegan market was using them, and I don't know. But because this person said it was at Trader Joe's, and I think that makes a difference because a lot of those people are more health conscious, and I would say, and I'm completely making a guess and a generalization here, but I would say vegetarians and vegans are more likely to go somewhere like Trader Joe's as opposed to like Walmart or Target.
I've never been to Trader Joe's, which
I
is
love
probably
Trader
that's why.
Joe's.
What do they have there? Like what
It's a
is
grocery store. They have groceries.
it? I didn't
prices,
even know. I literally didn't even know it was a grocery store.
The prices
like obviously,
are great.
Like obviously, Whole Foods I know is a grocery store.
Yeah.
Right. Like I know it's more expensive because it's quote unquote Whole Foods, I guess. But Trader Joe's, I didn't even know that. I thought
There's
it was something to do with almost like Trader Joe's, like some kind of a camping place or something like that.
There's one that's like 15 minutes from here. I've been to many times. And they also...
How does it compare to Aldi's?
Their prices are great. Trader Joe's is owned by Aldi's.
Get out.
Yes.
That's funny.
For those of you who didn't know.
Do you know... Let me ask you this question.
This is a joke, so I'm going to continue.
No, it's not a joke. I'm asking you a question. Would you consider Aldi's like a great American success story? Would you consider Aldi's a great American
What's the
success
joke?
story? It's not a joke. I'm asking you a question.
I don't know why.
Because Aldi's is actually a German company. Did you know
It
that?
sounds German.
I heard that
Aldi
somewhere along.
sounds German.
Oh yeah,
What
I
does
guess
it mean?
I guess
What's
it
the
does.
translation?
I don't know.
You're gonna make some. I'll look.
No, I don't. I don't know what it is, but
I'm looking it up. But the other cool thing about Trader Joe's is that they have really fun combinations of foods. Like it's not just macaroni. Like they have macaroni and cheese that's just like, cheddar or whichever kind. But they have fun flavors of things that are, you wouldn't really think, oh yeah, I want to get this. I don't know. I can't think of a good example right now. This butternut squash mac and cheese. Like you wouldn't think to yourself, I need that right now. But then you're walking down the aisles at Trader Joe's and you're like, butternut squash mac and cheese sounds delightful right now.
I don't know if that sounds delightful to me. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't try it.
I'm just telling you the vibes. I've never had anything that I did not like from there. Everything I've ever tried, even stuff I was like, that sounds weird. I'm gonna try it. Always so good. Such good stuff.
Have to go there sometime.
If you wanted
check it out.
Sponsor us, Trader Joe's. That would be fine. You could do that. Okay.
I thought they wanted to. We turned it down.
Aldi's name is a translation of Albrecht Discount.
That was a person, I assume?
Albrecht is the surname of the founders, brothers Karl and Theo Albrecht, and Discount is German for discount.
Oh, there you go.
So it's literally their last name, Discount.
Right.
But it's Aldi, all together.
Yeah.
All together. Okay, anyway.
All together.
So this person responded, the initial person responded, said, keep an eye out. Not all dark chocolate is as dark as they claim.
That sounds... I don't know.
We got some ideas for episodes that I don't want to
disclose,
share just in case we decide to do that. And then someone else commented and shared a picture with the caption, per the milk conversation, like, okay, it's a picture of a non-dairy creamer. It says non-dairy creamer on the front. And then on the back, under the ingredients at the bottom, it says contains milk. And so someone commented, see, that's so annoying, but I'm also happy they put it on there to inform anyone who cares that it contains a milk-derived ingredient. The one right above contains milk. I'm not going to read all that.
That's just so weird.
Someone else responded, that's super dangerous for allergies.
Well, but
the initial person responded, yes, I fell for this one. It's very sad. What?
But does it still have the same effect?
What do you mean?
In other words, it contains, it's non-dairy, but if it says contains, like if it has dried milk, for instance, or whatever, does it still affect people the same way as if they had ice cream or drank milk? I would think those people too would also like probably check ingredients for everything.
I'm sure they do, but I don't know the difference because milk, a lot of people, the issue with milk is the lactose. So I don't know how that plays a role in something like this.
Right. Does it not contain the lactose?
Does it contain the lactose? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't contain the lactose, but does milk have to contain lactose? I don't know. I don't know enough about this to be arguing. I really don't.
I don't think I talked about this on the podcast, but I was looking into this because of trying to be healthier. I never realized how healthy eggs were. I always thought eggs.
They were superfood.
Yeah, I always thought they were like, no, you got to watch your cholesterol. You can't eat eggs. Well, I looked this up, and that must be old science, I guess you would say. Because what eggs do is it raises your good cholesterol and does not have a significant effect on your bad cholesterol.
I think that, and I have zero evidence to support this. I think it was big cereal that started this. Because if you think about it, at the time when they were talking about why eggs were bad for you and why you should be careful about eggs, that's also when they were heavily promoting cereals and saying cereal is the best way to start your morning and you should have all this. So I think there's some kind of thing going on there. But yes, eggs are people are always like, what's a superfood? Which really that's not a thing. But if there were one, it would be an egg. And I think this could be wrong. So I should look this up, but I'm not going to. So someone correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure the only vitamin that eggs don't have is vitamin C, or is it vitamin D? There's only
I think they have
one
vitamin D.
Okay, then vitamin C. There's literally only one vitamin, like out of all the vitamins your body needs, that eggs don't have.
That's so weird. I mean, it makes sense though, right? Like it makes sense that they would have all those vitamins because you think of the point of an egg. Yeah, that's wild. Because when I was looking up my breakfast what I had during the week versus the weekend, right? And I always like assumed based on things that I heard in the past, not just for no reason, but that my breakfast, say during the week, if I just have a piece of toast with butter and peanut butter, that was better than having like eggs and bacon and I don't know, piece of toast with it. And it's like, no, it's the exact opposite. Because if you throw fruit in, if you throw like an orange in,
it's a complete breakfast.
That it's well rounded, and the protein helps you burn the sugars, and it's
the
like
whole thing.
Yeah. Now, if you're having like 4 dozen eggs or 5 dozen eggs after you're grown like Gaston, that's probably too much.
I have 2 complaints today.
Okay.
And then we're finished.
Okay. I can't have any complaints.
My first complaint. No, you can't.
That's my complaint today. I get no complaints.
My first complaint is that they just made the announcement or whatever that members of the Academy for the Oscars must watch all of the movies to be eligible to vote. What?
So
why was this not always a thing? No.
So
they
literally
just announced this past week that you have to.
So that could be. So in other words, that's no different than if I watch a movie.
Yes.
And I think it's really good.
Yes.
Really good. I love the movie. And then I go on and there's some poll somewhere on Rotten Tomatoes or wherever saying, oh, out of these 10 movies, what's your favorite? I've only seen the one and I just think it's really good. So it's like, this is the number 1 movie.
Yeah.
And that's how they did that.
Yeah. And it really makes me wonder if you look back through the history of like the Oscars and all that, how different people in different movies and things would have won had all of the members actually watched the movies.
Yeah.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
Why do you get a vote if you don't even know everything that's happening? It just makes zero sense.
I mean, for the nomination process, I get it that you're not gonna, because how many movies come out every year? God, when you count independent films and all, there are way too many to watch. But if there are 6 or 8 movies or actors or actresses that are nominated, okay, it's not very hard to watch all the movies that would be relevant, for the nominees.
Yeah. It's not.
That's weird.
And if you don't have the time or the desire to put in the effort that requires, then you should not be a member of the Academy.
Yeah.
I don't know how these people even get here. Probably just money, if we're being honest with ourselves.
Right.
And that's probably why this was never a thing.
Right.
And until now. But that's insane to me. And this is a big part of the reason I don't think you should take awards things like this so seriously. I don't think it's any, because you have to like advertise for any awards things. You have to advertise and like nominate yourself for a lot of these things.
Right.
Like for Grammys, you nominate yourself.
Right.
Or
the studio.
Or the studio nominates you.
Yep.
They don't just pick, look at the past year and pick, oh, these are the best albums or the best songs.
Right.
You literally have to say, well, I think mine was, so I'm
You
going
have
to
to
put
try
it
to
in here.
sell yourself. Yeah, in the
insane.
beginning. Yeah.
It's like, why do we even take any of this seriously? It's all money. Beyonce did not have the best album of the year, okay, is what I'm trying to say, people.
Yeah.
She didn't. I like Beyonce. She's fine. And she also should not have more Grammys than Billy Joel has Grammy nominations.
No,
she just shouldn't.
That's
okay,
crazy.
we're done here.
Well,
I'm heated.
Yeah, and here's the thing: like all of the, whether it's music or whether it's movies, and this is not just, like everybody thinks that. I was thinking about this earlier today. Everyone thinks that the songs that were popular when they were basically a teenager were the best songs ever. Okay, so that's kind of understandable. But I'm telling you, like the award shows today, whether it's music, whether it's like the Grammys, whether it's like the Oscars, they are not as popular as they used to be, and they are not taken as
shouldn't be.
seriously
Yep.
because of things like that, and like the whole Beyonce
Garbage.
thing that you brought up. Like when Billy Joel was popular, and you know, you had the Grammys and all back then, they weren't just, you know, it wasn't like you had your Swifties that are just all like going to vote for Taylor Swift just because she's Taylor Swift, right? Like they were voting for legit, what do I think is the best song?
Right.
Really, you know, they weren't biased, and there also weren't other weird guidelines that had nothing to do with music or nothing to do with the movie that they had in place. So it's kind of like nobody takes it seriously anymore, and
And they
hopefully
shouldn't.
it'll change because it's sad.
We're over it.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is now, when you think about certain, well, the example you gave, when you compare Beyonce to Billy Joel.
And I want
Okay.
to make it clear, I'm not suggesting Beyonce should not have won awards. I'm not suggesting she's
Right.
not a good artist.
Right.
Obviously, she is.
Right.
You can for sure make the argument that, you know, one of the I don't know what the right word to use is here, best artists of all time, like most popular, most influential,
Mhm.
like however you want to phrase that.
Right.
That being said, especially this past year, she did not deserve to win the album of the year for Cowboy Carter, okay? An album that didn't even win at the CMAs.
Right.
How do you win album of the year
Right.
for a country album that didn't win at the Country Music Awards? Make
Yeah.
it make sense,
Yeah.
okay? It doesn't. It's all
Yeah.
money. Anyway, my second and final complaint today is when people say, and I see this so much. This is a nice little grammar thing for you all to end the week or the show for the week on. When people say that they like if you say you're talking to someone and you're like, "Oh yeah, do you know Caitlin?" And then you say, "Oh yeah, I've met her a couple of times, like whatever."
Mhm. Okay.
No, you have not. You have not met her a couple of times.
Oh.
Do you all know what the word met means? To meet? To meet means, without looking up an actual
You're talking
definition,
about an introduction.
is
The-
an
the one-
introduction. Y'all have never had a conversation before.
Right,
You did
right.
not know each other before this moment. To
Right.
meet someone means to be introduced and to come to know them.
Good.
Okay?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Meet you for the first time, right?
The only thing, when we had meetings at work, I
No,
always in the
absolutely
beginning
not. You
said,
may
"Nice
not-
to meet you,"
You
to
may
everyone.
not make a joke about this, okay? You meet someone once.
Uh-huh.
One single time. Just the one time, okay? You have not met someone, "Oh yeah, I met her, you know, a couple of times. I met her, 3-4 times?" No, you didn't. You met her once, and then since then you have seen her. You have been in conversation with her. You've been in the same place as her.
I mean, the only thing is, sometimes if I worked with somebody a long time ago, I won't remember. So if I
No.
ran into them again, I would kind of be meeting them
Wrong.
again for the
No.
first time.
No, for the
In
second
forever.
time.
In
Meeting them
forever.
at stop. It's
Okay.
not identity theft is not a joke, Jim.
Okay.
Millions of people suffer from it every year. I'm leaving.
Wait, one more thing.
No.
One more thing, and this is not for the thing. Don't, you know what? Don't set that there.
Yeah,
'cause
I'm not. It's
they're
a mess
magnetic.
over here.
They're
What?
no, they're magnetic discs, and I don't. The magnetic
What?
thing. I think we need to start at the beginning of the podcast, right? Maybe in the outtakes. We need to mention something exciting we're going to talk about. So you need to stick around for the end of the
Wait, that
podcast.
reminds me.
Because you brought up, I can't remember what it was now, but I was like,
Reminds
that's really interesting. People want to know about this, but most of them probably have already gone.
The-
What?
to end the episode, I have to say, have the day you deserve.
Yes.
I forgot.
Yeah. You do.
Good day. Hope to meet you all again. Ugh! You meet someone once, and then you see them after that.
Yeah, but what if you say, "Oh, we'll meet up at the"?
Meeting up with someone is like a phrase, though. That's completely
It's not the same as
different.
meet, yeah.
To meet.
Or if you just say, "I'll meet you at the mall," you don't
Yeah,
mean
I will meet you at the mall. Yes,
You don't
we will
mean-
be meeting. We
Nice
will
to
be
meet
coming
you.
together to meet.
it's okay. You say, "Nice to meet you." But you can't say we met. I met her multiple times. I know that'd be weird unless you're talking about, yeah, that'd be weird.